There's two sorts of poets. One of them waits for the train, and the other one just talks through it. For example, Eileen Miles, she talks to the train. But that's because she's a luminous person. Everybody knows we don't belong here, as far as land goes. You may belong here personally. I know I'm like the whitest person whose grandparents came off the boat in the early 20th century. Well, I can't even figure out what happened because they lied about everything at Ellis Island. All I know is that they're Irish and they're scoundrels. I guess that actually is a thing that happened. Now, Moveable Beast we have a very unfortunate incident, and that unfortunate incident that our second performer, John Malillo of Algae and Tentacles, also, who rents us this space, which, for like the door, which is like a miracle in my opinion, he is sick. He was supposed to be second. So we're having this, we're in a new, different way of being, we're going to have our open mic first. I know, please don't leave if you're an open micer, because that's just rude. Unless you have to, but still. We all like poets, and we all like performers, and we all want them to be completely respected. I'm just saying. I don't know if I introduced myself. I'm Maryrose Largan. I probably should have done that. And the first person who's reading this tune.
Hurry up, I'm supposed to be on that train. Thank you very much. As you know, I am Tim Waters. I'm going to read a few selections from the books I've written. Fortunately, I have 3 out now. I have a 4th in editing, but I keep writing. Like many of you, it's just part of my DNA now. You know, it's how we do things. So I'd like to read a few from Internal Inferno. This first one is called Sense of Tomorrow. I am so angry. The hate coming out of his mouth, the knowledge he is lacking to fill in those gaps, to change misinformation into fact, to change his mind so it doesn't work like that. He sensed I was different. He got in my face. His volume got louder, his arms filled the space, flailing and threatening while he accused me. People took out their phones and started recording me. The hatred was welling up. I started clenching my fist. Escalate the situation was what the gallery wished. I was expected to buck right back, like 2 competing rams fighting over some ewe, later posted on the media for some more views. I listened and held my tongue, waiting for a chance, waiting for an opportunity. I came here to dance, gathering all his points to counter with ease. I sensed him tiring. I was feeling pleased. Just as I opened my mouth, it occurred to me to parrot his actions could never let it be. It was something over time I needed to borrow. I needed wisdom. I got a sense of tomorrow. I started out with where we agreed and complimented him on his family and got him to feel human and deflate a while. I think I even saw a hint of a smile. Thank you. This one's called Giving Up. It's fairly short. I guess it doesn't take a long time for me to give up, but here we go. I'm giving up all feeling. I'm going to live now numb, deflecting my emotions, living with none. Must be a bad seed growing in me, curious as to what it may be. Is it a parasite consuming me? Will it live to take over me? Is there a trap door to let it out? Activated by whispers, closed by a shout. Is it better to not see it there? Step through to tomorrow. Yesterday is aware. I'm doing fine on time?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to try one more here. This is called Chorus Discourse. And this is my first time being here, and I think it's absolutely fabulous. And this crowd is wonderful too. I mean, very, very attentive. It was said one time in a small place that small, intimate settings are probably the best places to read. And I believe that tonight. I saw the AI world and the VR too. I wanted to talk about it. They wouldn't talk to me. It was introduced as the future, which can only conjure up the past. I can make a quick search of history and link up this mess. Impressed are we at the results it shows as rendered images. How it's held up, who knows? I wanted to discuss it, but the program froze. It shall help think us, make us obsolete. It will predict where to grow and what to eat. It will inform architecture in cities and towns and the transportation we use to get around. It is exciting as they present it. It sounds as an approachable future. Finally, the future as we were told through science fiction when we were not so old. We wondered when it would begin. As soon as we find a place to plug in. Yes, the umbilical cord of this logic generator is dependent on fuel. As the advancements before it, they talk over objections and they won't explore it. It is not in the program conveniently, ignore it. So as great as this sounds, it can only reflect upon what we have done. Algorithms project, but this may lead us off course. There is no new thought, there is no discourse. I withhold judgment and accelerated advances until you explain how this improves us. Thank you.
Poets are underfunded, therefore you will have to act as your own tech team. Need it larger? Move it up. Need it smaller? Move it down. Our next reader is Daniel, and I should just say, you read a really perfect amount of time, so between like 3 minutes and that time will be perfect. So, thank you, and Daniel, please join us. You have to be around tech. I'm really short.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, 2 chairs.
Hi, I'm Daniel Ultimer. Thanks for having me. Maryrose, thanks for reminding me that, or us, that like art is about trying things and failing. I've got 2 poems in here that I'm very comfortable with reading out loud, and 2 poems in here that I've never read in front of anyone. So, here we go. Protochild 3. Beneath a dank tongue of bridge, clicking itself through the night, we find him, our son, and everything goes Dick and Jane till 7-ish. He does tricks on the lightning-bright jungle gym, and we clap ourselves away, like thunder and stain-burned lips, and hands to a joke about STDs we've never had or seen but heard of from friends of friends, a teary call in the distance. White dusk of a smile, we're counterparts in the dream. The sea nudges the shale we walk barefoot on, slippery, never quite said, but understood by a slip of my shin. As adults, we no longer learn. We know the grain belt left out will freeze and burst into something magnificent or not. It is no longer Wisconsin. I was asleep early to a show that cast itself in frank blues and tones. You cry while cooking and stop. In your gut, you know the hypotheticals. The red under nail is not blood, but cherry from the market or stain from the outdoor siding project, coloring with our boy or painting with our boy. Intense heat, a pressure, parturition, you think, and only pick at your lip of skin absent-mindedly. In your gut, the child turns himself like cement in the hull of a truck. You haven't vomited in months, and we don't do the amniocentesis, and your blood pressure is the healthiest the nurse has seen in weeks. Our kid in your heart of a gut in the wetted cloth of humanity spins himself dizzy, and we laugh, tumbles like damp laundry, and clap, oh do we clap, blip our heartbeats on a radar in a dark room. And this is one I haven't read before. Terrification. My wife thinks the rain, so creosote, but I think nitrogen, like how my father formed the answer to what makes the after rain smell. This is Southern Illinois. Our house was cedar-sided. True sadness was delayed, so good parenting, honey-colored. Your play school swings, sways, and rope shoulders in the breeze like a blue figure gendered, then gendered different. This is Southern Louisiana. The ice in my wife's glass melts quicker than we've ever seen. I gendered the tree too, and culvert shrinking but highlighted by the wash. The plant with the big leaves by the walk rocks its appendages towards desire, then away. I offered to refresh my wife's drink, but she gulps it like, what's the point? I say words like brook and mean water. Look, I say, a deer. Terrific, she says, so I touch her shoulder to know her tone. My hand turns into my father's, turns into his father's dirt farm, softens in the sweet cream of nostalgia, bringing the milk bucket for years to the kitchen counter for his mother to let sit, separate its many uses like a balm in the hands of hands, in hands larger than his helping him pray for the first, no, but the first really he's understood it, time. This is central Wisconsin. The highways have bypassed the larger towns. There's a dirt driveway by Old Black Road. A tractor that never was new stuns in the rain. It is not sad or happy when the image creases with the day. Family's not an obligation unless you started it, I tell my wife, like I can't tell my dad. I call her you too, as you bother the conversation. You leave the room and return with pajamas. You pretend yourself terrifying and green, your favorite, and stomp and blue, your favorite. Then you say, that means I'm a mama monster. You rolling you towards laughter as if to ask, when's the sepia start up? Because I know it stops when you stomp in anger, innate in its darkness. I hold you by the twist of your feet, bridge of your chest, hold you when the game becomes real and sudden. You must learn to survive the world, says my force. You must adjust your mind or replicate. This is Southern Louisiana. The trees unclothe again and again with the wind. You ask, what makes the after rain smell? But not like that. Hear how the storm bellows back, even ameliorates, say, terrific. But what to do with the fear? This is when rain's a word. This is when the sun and sun's desireless. Do we have time for one more?
Yes.
All right. This one's called Incognito, and it's after Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin, who are both NFL players. Jonathan Martin was bullied by Richie Incognito very publicly. So this is a response to that. And it ends with an entire just monologue from Jonathan Martin. Incognito. Bitch would be the word, or likely pussy. You two have said it, those, though, how much is that a risk admittance? You could have been teenaged and egged on, tears later even. Whatever happened to the high school bully? You don't ever ask, truly, in case he didn't peak then, in case he's still climbing incognito, others' bodies as footholds, literal footholds, a strained elbow at the wrong angle. He's got his 3 strongest fingers on someone's jaw pulling, and it's sexual and not the way American Psycho gets erotic and not in the way your mouth. Tyler Durden to the mirror, though, what to do with Angel Face? Jared Leto swells beautiful and thankful for the beating, like how you know to put a suffering animal out of its misery. A mercy rule, you know. This poem wants to be about the pun, incognito, to eat its vegetables and grow into irony. Wear the trash bag to make weight, detail how the bully happens in secret, the toxic in masculinity like etymology. It wants to tell you its name and say its dad beat it into product. Its mom coaxed it to drown the barn kittens because of strained resources, and you can see it in its jawline and jutting brow ridge. Instead, it talks like Jonathan Martin, blames the soft schools it went to, which fostered within it a feeling. A huge pussy as it never got into fights, verbally bullied every day in middle school and high school by kids half its size. It would never fight back, just get sad. Most in that situation are witty and quick, with sarcastic replies. It has never been. Thanks.
So, I actually wanted to read you a poem that included the words impeccable answer. So I looked at my email and asked about all of the attachments I had from me to me. It turns out mostly I have things like Home Depot order, blood test results, etc. So I'm going to read you two. We're going to keep that there. I'm going to read you 2 short poems that I've never read before because I don't know time. I love to be done. Lou, you are next after me, just so you know. Now that's something actually to look forward to. This is just filler, just so you know. So, I wrote these somewhere. Response to a painting. I'm sure I can't remember. So, the first one though is called If Not Distance, Distance, Steerage. And as I said before, the very poor Irish people came over on the boat and then they lined to Ellis Island and we don't know anything else. But we know they were in Steerage but they were poor. So this is called If Not Distance, Distance, or Steerage. For those unseen, mountain, mouth, moor, maw, often, each to each. Mary, mother, child, mother, mother, Mary, Joseph, father, and father, brother, sister, mother, we go as we go. Sky, sky, no others and many, flying in the forward mirror. When the night deck veins, was I here when I was? Was I? Am I? Where was I when hello, yes, and yes, to and fro? Moon absolute. This next one is called Crema. And I think I paid money to go to this workshop where they showed me pictures and I did it, but I don't remember, but it's so cool. Crema. What possibilities are found in the crema of orange/raisin? One, attention to the east face. What possibilities are found in the crema? Oh, the day assembled itself fro to blue. Morning, I think about afternoon, single-filed and phone-faced, motion among strangers. The day is written on the passing trucks. Afternoon, and I think about morning, its clarion, porcelain milk, soaked clarity and silk. The day assembled, floats the word from shore to shore. Lou, it's your turn.
I promise not to sing.
That's Maryrose's job.
Should I promise not to sing? No. Okay, I can promise not to sing also.
My name is Lou, and I speak my truth. This first one is called Secret Weapon. I sat at one of St. Charles's outdoor tables, checking texts on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. An older white man walked up, placed a beer on the table, and asked, "Brother, can I join you?" Sometimes I feel like I'm one of a dozen blacks in the old Pueblo. So when a stranger calls me brother, I want to ask him a few questions. Why are you calling me brother? Do you call white strangers brother? Is it because of the color of my skin? He sat back and I went to texting. Music drifted from inside, and I softly sang along to Led Zeppelin's rip-off of the Delta Blues classic, When the Levee Breaks. My new brother asked, "You know this song?" I sighed. I sighed the sigh of a black man that has heard far too many stupid questions in his life. Questions like, "You can swim? You don't like to dance? Where can I find some good fried chicken?" I sighed. Then he said, "You know, you're not really black." My eyes widened, my eyebrows rose, my head tilted, and I placed my phone on the table. He continued, "Your skin is that color because of the melatonin in it." I looked at him as if he just handed me a lightly breaded koala testicle smothered in hollandaise with just a hint of pine salt. My new brother went on, "No, the real blacks are the Europeans that started this country." I imagined touching my melatonin-laced forehead against his forehead at a high rate of speed, so in the immortal words of the prophet Samuel L. Jackson, he would just go the fuck to sleep. Instead, I chose to employ my trusty secret weapon. I used my legs. I got up and walked away. Last September for my birthday, my wife arranged a trip for me to go to Ghana. And this is inspired by that one part of that trip. It's called Salty Water. The September sun lifted moisture from the water that the cool ocean breeze carried inland. The moisture flew higher and higher and further inland. The molecules of oxygen and hydrogen joined with like molecules. They joined and joined until they became droplets. Millions of droplets floated above the highlands of Ghana. They floated and floated and floated until they became too heavy. Then they fell. Countless drops of water fell upon the land. The land absorbed as much as it could, then the rest was captured by gravity. Gravity helped that water find the path of least resistance. The water formed rivers. One of these rivers was called the Asin Manso, and one of its streams, the Mankur Su. It was a beautiful babbling stream that had a bamboo leaf-covered canopy that allowed dapples of sunlight to highlight the cool water that tickled my ankles as it made its way to the Atlantic Ocean. As the water slid by, I added water of my own. Salty water. Water induced by the knowledge of where my bare feet were planted. My feet were planted at the sites of the last bath. The sites where millions of slaves were were forced to bathe so they looked more presentable to potential buyers. They bathed and they wept. Their tears added salty water that flowed to the Atlantic, where the sun lifted moisture from the water that the cool ocean breeze carried inland. Thank you. And my last one is called Hooke, and I'm not going to try to pronounce this guy's name. He's from India, and I'm not butchering anybody's name, but he once said, "The one who plants the tree knowing he will never sit in the shade, he has at least started to understand the meaning of life." In October of 2020, I saw disturbing footage on the news. The footage was from a body cam. The footage was from March of 2020. The footage was of the murder of Breonna Taylor. The footage was of a black woman being shot multiple times by multiple police officers in her home, in her bed. Our country is engaged in a class war. Breonna Taylor was not the first casualty of this war. Breonna Taylor is certainly not the last. I have no children. I do have nieces and nephews, and I love them. I won't live long enough to see the end of this war. But I believe if I write and speak against it, the great-grandchildren of the great-great-great-grandchildren of the great-great-great-grandchildren of my nieces and nephews may live in a nation where the marginalized are not casualties of this class war. That is why I write. That is why I speak. That is why I sow. That is why I have hope. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm done with carrying the primary hand, which is now the tertiary hand, is not going to carry those. So therefore, I'm just going
to tell you Amber is going to read someone else's poem.
So I didn't know this was an open mic, and the people at the door were very convincing, so I thought, what can I do? And I guess growing up in high school, I was like 15, that was 25 years ago, there was a poem that I heard on TV that I liked a lot. And back then we didn't have the internet, so I recorded it on my little play school recorder, which I still had. And I listened to it enough times that I memorized it, because I thought it was really cool. So I will say I've never performed it publicly. I have recited it a number of times over the years. It's the poem that I exercise to when things are really hard on the elliptical. I'm like, because it's got a nice beat to it. Yeah, so we'll see if I can remember it, because I do have a cheat sheet, because I've seriously never done this live, but I've probably said it 10,000 times. So just to give you the story that I've heard, which again, I looked this up on like early internet days, and I remember it, so this doesn't make it true, is there was a lady who used to like the same show that I liked, and she really liked a character on the show, and she wrote a poem, and she sent it in to the show, and said, I think this poem is perfect for your character, and the writers read it, and they said, you are right. So they actually gave this character a scene where he's performing open mic poetry to basically show that he is human, because he's actually an android. Okay? So we'll see if I can do this without prompting. Felis catus is your taxonomic nomenclature, an endothermic quadruped, carnivorous by nature. Your visual, olfactory, and auditory senses control your hunting skills and natural defenses. I find myself intrigued by your vocal oscillations, a singular development of cat communications that obviates your basic hedonistic predilection for the rhythmic stroking of your fur to demonstrate affection. Your tail is quite essential for your acrobatic talents. You would not be so agile if you lacked its counterbalance. And when not being utilized to aid in locomotion, it often serves to illustrate the state of your emotion. And though you are not sentient spot and cannot comprehend, I nonetheless consider you a true and valued friend.
I'm trying to approach the mic from different areas of the room. Up against the walls.
Okay, our next person, thank you. That was a poem about data, wasn't it?
That was a poem about Data's cat.
Data's cat, yes. Could have been a Spock poem, except he did not love words the same way Data does. Data loves words. Our next person is Jeremy, who's doing a poem thing. I know that you're afraid of the heat and the crowd, so please just slide in.
You read me perfectly. Yeah, I wore the wrong shoes, and so I had to stand with the coolers next to me. So I'm just going to read a couple of stanzas here. We're just going in here. Okay, right in the middle of something. And it's just a series of aphorisms. That's an easy way to accept what's about to occur for anybody. It's just a bunch of stuff. You get to experience currently, so it's trying to make sense of something. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll stop introducing and I'll just... What?
Make the mic taller.
I thought you said I might want to be taller too. I could do it.
I don't know.
You might give childbirth a shot next time. Imagining a gallery show of large black and white prints, my having placed my suited self in popular advertisements in place of the figurehead. Why? What are you up to? History, a how-to guide to survive culling centuries. What's the difference between a Starbucks barista position and a flight attendant position? Location. Okay. Shut up. What I was trying to get at earlier is that the other side fears losing something. They fear. What does that elicit in you? There's the revolution in waiting that cannot be televised. Most likely we're all in a knock-knock joke, but God's knuckles have yet to finish rapping. In all the things may I say we, on earth as it is in, if there is such a thing. And we'll leave it there. Thanks.
I have rheumatoid arthritis, so sometimes I can dance, and sometimes I can crawl, and sometimes I need my beautiful cane, and sometimes I do not. And sometimes I leave it someplace, so I have like 1,000 canes because I keep leaving the place. Because there'll be a moment where I don't need the cane, and then I think that's my reality, but it isn't. Our last reader is Danny. He's a really pretty good poet. So please come up here and read to us.
Hey everybody, I too was kindly bullied into this in the doorway. So I didn't have anything really prepared, but I just came here from another open mic like that I attend some Tuesdays, that every weekend it's on Zoom and it starts with a collab poem on like Google Docs. So I just combined a bunch of my, so all of my contributions so far from January until now, which is not a lot. But, so I'm just gonna read them all as one continuous piece. It's the 82nd of January. My hands are jittering and I don't think it's the morning coffees. Today I held an emu egg and saw 5 of Jupiter's moons. None of that means anything though. Every order brings more disorder, but don't run away. Support one another and protect the vulnerable. Find strength in community, not calamity. Reach out and touch me, consensually. Turn on the filter, the one about the sacred geometry. Pass through the portal, open the loop and close the loop. Accountability, transparency, see the world not only through your eyes, but from the eyes of another. The filter is called empathy. Top corner, third from the left. It's funny how everybody loves to look at a dead flower, plucked from its source, displayed in a vase. Intricate processes have been invented, perfected, passed down, pressing the delicate mess between two solid surfaces. In the end, it's dried out, lost its color, lost its form, lost its taste, lost its freedom to reproduce. But if you hate weeds, you better make sure it never touches the soil again, because it'll be a rose bush before you know it. I had a song to sing, but it flew away.
Okay, let's just make this clear. Some people I bullied because there were like 2 people and one of them was me. And honestly,
You're gonna get very tired of this. But some people I bullied because I wanted to hear what they were doing, Danny. So, just saying. Anyways, our first featured reader will be up in just a second. Her name is Hooke.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Did I screw this up again?
Nope.
Damn it! I had a plan, and then John got sick, and then we had some complications with the order, and so
It's not you, honey.
if I'm doing it wrong, I really apologize, people. I really want to be right and perfect, but on the other hand, I get to introduce Hooke, and she's my darling. So that's really nice for me. So, Hooke, aka Angela Hill, has gone from being a young Mormon girl, wife, and housewife to being a really remarkable confessional and political poet, and lives in the beautiful life of love anarchy. And I have to totally say, I'm so glad I know you. Just saying, don't cry. I'm just so glad I know you. Angela's awesome. Angela Ash. On my phone, she's Angela Ash. And because I have a child who's not my child who lives with me, and she's Amber Ash. So I need to differentiate my ashes. Anyways, this is the perfect thing. I'm so lucky this is happening, and so are you people. Hooke.
Hello. I'm so glad you're all here. I really am. Moveable Beast, I kind of started at Moveable Beast when they had Moveable Beast before. A couple of years ago, I went to an open mic, and I was just trying to read at all the open mics I could get to, and met Maryrose that night, and David, and then that became a journey where they published my chapbook, Surviving the Post-Mormon Apocalypse, and then now I'm part of Moveable Beast, and that makes me, it feels like I'm coming full circle now, and that makes me really happy. Okay, so, y'all, we're in the apocalypse. I don't know if you know that. We are. It's not just a post-Mormon one, it's everyone's. And I think in this time of fear, and tragedy, and witch hunting, that we need to continue to tell our truth and stick together. And that's really what I wanted tonight to be about. And so I'm going to tell you who I am up here with some of my poetry. As Maryrose said, I was Mormon for 46 years in my life, small town Utah Mormon, so yikes. Thank God I moved to Tucson, and my ex-husband decided he needed to file divorce papers to try and control me, and I just said, yeah, that's a good idea, let's do that. And it started my life, my second life. Now, to be fair, my first life, I have 4 beautiful children and 4 grandchildren, and I learned a lot about life being in that oppressive space, and it's made being free even more glorious. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this poem from my book called They Got It Wrong in the End, and it has, you know, some of the ex-Mormon stuff in there, stuff with my mom, things like that. There were no colorful riders on horses at the end. Sure, there was pestilence and war and death and what was the other one? Oh yeah, famine or conquest, depending on which translation you ask. All those things were there, but then all those horrid, mundane things exist through ages and ages past. Why would anyone think them supernatural signs? When has anyone ever listened to history, let alone prophecy? After we danced naked under the blood moon and frolicked in our sexual excess, loving who and more than we should, we ran hand in hand with our partners, lovers finally equal at the end, born from this apocalypse, the God of all things left alive, running to the end of the world, searching for saviors they said would come, finding none. If Jesus did return, no one recognized him. His skin and features having melted like paint from paintbrushes held by white male hands before any bombs were even armed. Those old dropped bombs on Japan feeling as far away as Golgotha. I imagine his unseen, disgusted wandering, somehow with and without us, amid the indiscriminate rubble of temples, mosques, and cathedrals, yes, the Mormon ones too, making it impossible to drive, all roads leading to nowhere anyway. On the side of the road, my poor mother died, 3 months in for lack of insulin. Its price even higher after money meant nothing, worthless kindling. Her pounds of aging, faithful flesh just died, stopped. No twinkling translation, no rapture, no resurrection, just diabetic coma, decomposing digits, death. Here at the end of the world, those that are left don't pray. We cry coldly into the ashy void, fighting fiercely to stay alive like all the doomsdays before. The gun I swore I'd never carry, that handgun with the laser sight my father bought me when I got divorced, is long out of bullets, and I am sick of eating this fucking wheat. So for those of you that don't know, Mormons do food storage and stuff, and it's all just a bunch of wheat, and I wrote the wheat poem, but I'm not going to read the wheat poem today. Okay, another thing, and I just want you to know, it's going to be real dark for a while, and then it's going to get really squishy and lovey, and be fine. The other thing I am is a public school teacher. I teach high school English. I also teach this really cool, I've taught freshmen, and I teach this really cool senior English class called War and Conflict. So I'm really interested in war and things like that. Will you give me my water? Okay, so recently my school district issued a panic button for us to wear around our necks. And what you're supposed to do is push it 3 times with "I need help," just for regular help. But then if there's like a really big problem, like, I don't know, a shooter, you push it repeatedly, over and over, 8 times at least, and that's how everyone knows. And you know, I've been trying to write a poem about this, and I can't because it's like freaking me out all the time. And then I remembered I already did. Like literally wrote the panic button into this poem before I even knew it existed. So I wrote this poem in September of this school year, this last September, after the school shooting in Georgia. And so all the names are part of that situation, a lot of things like that. It's called Bang Bang, These Kids Are Back in School. It's 11:37 in the evening, August 4th, 2024. I can't sleep, even though I really need to. And it still feels like Christmas Eve after all these years. With a belly full of butterflies and a heart cracking open, I close my eyes, visualizing my perfect decorated classroom. Finally, a hopeful hour or so later, I drift away, dreaming and wondering of the delightful surprises to come. What young, gifted humans wrapped in glittering potential wait to greet me in just a few short hours. Bang, bang. Wake up, let's go. I shiver in the warm shower. Today is the day. My thrifted burnt orange dress is the perfect shade of dead autumn leaves, with the daringly bright fuchsia tights I splurged on, the perfect notice me accent for my first day fit. I hope no one notes my 3-year-old flats, my DIY dye job, my press-on nails. Standing in front of my full-length mirror, smiling because I've got it together. I load my lunchbox into my low-budget, reliable Japanese car. This year, I'm aiming to elevate, stand out in the crowd. No more hiding under the desk for me. Bang, bang. I miss late day, lazy summer traffic. I'm already so very tired, and it's only Wednesday. Pumpkin spice to the rescue, my sweet celebration of the 4th day of September. Hey, sometimes you have to celebrate even mundane days. These teenage drivers, I think they're getting worse, not better. I wonder if any of them are mine. Not likely, as freshmen aren't old enough to drive. No matter. Today we're starting To Kill a Mockingbird. It's my personal favorite, and I just know these socially minded darlings will love it too. I can't wait to share how much young Scout loved her heroic father. It was times like these when I thought my father, who hated guns and had never been to any wars, was the bravest man who ever lived. Bang, bang. The steel door to the faculty lounge slammed shut, heavy. I smiled at Christina, her right hand atop several warm pizza boxes and her left balancing a 3-tiered chocolate cake to celebrate her last weekend birthday. Such an incredibly fun math teacher, and that's saying something. She might be the only one. Well, except for Coach Richard, he's pretty great at teaching math too. And so generous, giving all those extra hours to the football team. Next weekend, I'll be on a bus for our first speech and debate tournament. This year's gun control resolution surely sparking such powerful discourse. The research alone has been fascinating. Such a long drive, 4.5 hours each way. I can't believe we have to leave at 5 in the morning. The things we do for our students. Bang, bang. Did you hear about Appalachia High School? The school counselor shut the door softly behind her. She means well, but I have to get my learning goals on the board. There's not much time. Yeah, they use that panic button system, right? Squeaky squeaker, this expo marker is already dying. Yes, it saved a lot of lives, I'm told, as did the Kevlar backpacks their district recommended. Oh yeah? When are we getting those? Who knows? How are you feeling? Okay. After all, these things happen every day. Well, every 5.5 days if I care about accuracy, but I've never been good at math. Statistics especially, English being my specialty. Bang, bang. Colt has forgotten his pencil again. He told me yesterday his daddy spent the rest of the rent money on a present for him. I doubt that it's school supplies, but maybe. Handing him one of mine, I try and entice even the tiniest of smiles. Past his scowl, Mason and Christian giggle over something. Probably nothing I really want to know about, these kids and their hormones. Mason shyly holds out a paper to me as I pass by. It's the most achingly beautiful drawing of a mockingbird I've ever seen. Teary Atticus's words ring into the silence of my mind. Shoot all the blue jays you want if you can hit them, but remember it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. And Miss Monty's answer. Mockingbirds don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. They don't eat up people's gardens, don't nest in corn cribs. They don't do one thing but sing their hearts out for us. That's why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. I muse about mockingbirds and children. Nearby the open door, I hear the marching band practicing on the football field. Or maybe it's just the one trumpeter I hear sounding out clear and sad as a Civil War bugler. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang. There are 118 days left of this calendar year. But if you live your life like I do in school year days, we've barely just begun. And tomorrow, well, tomorrow's just another ordinary, wearisome, life-threatening day at school. All right, we're gonna do one more dark one, and then we're gonna go happy. Like I said, I teach a war and conflict class, so we read war literature, we talk about war, it's real stuff. And also around this time, I hadn't written a war poem for a while, and my students found out I write poetry, and one of them's like, so do you write all war poems? And I'm like, not really. And they're like, why not? And so I wrote a war poem. It comes from reading this little snippet of a poem by Marwan Marcoul, which you might know. In order for me to write poetry that isn't political, I must listen to the birds, and in order to hear the birds, the warplanes must be silent. And that sparked this poem called No Birds in These Politics. They're calling it empathetic distress. This bone marrow deep, helpless sadness those of us trying to care experience from our privileged position of safety. Clinging to the abstract idiom-made mantra, just because it isn't happening here doesn't mean it isn't happening. Chanted as we stare at flashing screens, crying displaced crocodile tears while giving a little money here and there, trying not to look away. Except, it is happening here. Just not in the way warplanes dropping bombs from above already bleeding heads covered by thin, starving arms while raw, parched throats scream until death orders all silent, save the crackling fire still burning. Here, living in the United States military-industrial complex, we just pay for it all. Basically, war is big business. $877 billion spent last year alone. Funded from the taxes taken from our pockets to fund deadly purchases from the warplane bomb-building businesses, creating war profiteers, designing and dispersing blackmail-funded legal policies that send the war machines out to destroy in the first place. This is what it means to be a safe American. While the children of Gaza die, like the children of Ukraine died, like the children of Syria died, like the children of Afghanistan died, like the children of Iraq died, like the children within history from Vietnam to Africa were made to cast their childhood aside, trading their security blankets for AK-47s, shooting past callous, pointed fingers until they died. Of course, my empathy is distressed. And as I sit here safely writing my political poetry, the only birds I hear are mockingbirds, because the croaking of the corpse-fed crows are not worthy sound bites for tonight's evening news. Okay. So I'm a queer person, and I write queer poetry as well. That's where I met Aura, who's going to be our next person. But I had to cut things because those poems are really long, so it's fine. If you are around, you'll hear me read my queer poetry too. It's fine. Okay. So I'm going to read a love poem, because love's going to save us. And I'm reading this poem because our third performer is going to be James Patrick Oldie. Patrick Oldie, who's my partner. And Maryrose say couples perform together all the time, so we're doing that. It's pretty cool. And so, you know, I did what a good Mormon girl should for a long time. And like I said, I'm living my second life, and I waited a long time to find Patrick. And so we had this really amazing commitment ceremony, and it was like a costume ball. It was awesome. At Valley of the Moon, that's a cool place if you haven't been. And Patrick's like, wasn't worried about the vows. He was worried about the toast. And I'm like, what? We don't give toasts. That's other people's, we don't do things traditionally. And the reason he was worried about it is because he sang 2 songs to me for the toast, and that was amazing. And so, like, I'd had a poem brewing, but I hadn't really written it. And the night before our ceremony, it just came out. And so that's what I decided to read, or to do for the toast that I now felt like I had to do. It's called Convergence. Did you know a blue whale's heart weighs 400 pounds and its heartbeat can be heard over 2 miles away? Imagine the weight and resonance, the capacity for love within that kind of heart. Did you know that light travels 1 million times faster than sound? That light is the fastest known entity in the universe. Imagine the exhilarating acceleration, the capacity for revelation within that kind of illumination. Recently, I have discovered within imagination that majestic purgle exists as deep space whales traveling through universes as fast as light and even faster. As I rest on your couch, my back pressed into you, your arms around me, witnessing the glory of imagination's stories, I'm amazed at this convergence of my fascinations. Whales amidst stars and furious light-filled universes. But more than that, but more than these, with my ear to your chest, I hear our love beat across galaxies. And I know that this love is as fast as light, deep as space, healing my heaviness with a cosmos of whale song. As my heart beats, I know I belong beyond imagination, here with you, believed, seen, more than I ever dreamed, beloved. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael, actually. It was a terrific reading. Okay. Sadly, we have some MCs would say, let's just keep going. But sadly, we have very bad air conditioning, not air conditioning, swamp cooling in here. I'm not even sure it's swamp cooling. So we're going to take a 10-minute break, or as my ex, who I'm inordinately fond of, even though he is no longer fond of me, would say, half an album side. We're going to take a half an album side break. I'm going to go ahead and make my phone make noise when it ends, but only I will hear it. So, thank you guys all for coming. Go have a break, go stand outside, go get some
Come back, please.
animal crackers, etc.
Come back, come back.
As a member of the avant-garde, I've sat in more folding chairs than anyone except people who go to 12-step meetings, and I have sat in poorly heated and poorly cooled areas, and so we just decided not to take that chance. So, the next one, will I have to fight the train? I'm gonna listen to the train and see if it's gonna rattle me off my records. Okay, it's cool. The next one is April 23rd. It's a Wednesday. It's like a week. It's like 3 weeks from this Wednesday. We also float amid the calendar because we like to take what we can get when it comes to the insideness, living inside, not the interior diet. Anyways, on April 23rd, there will be at least two of us. One, I will be reading. Actually, I will be doing something called 20 Questions for 5 Masters, which includes, I don't know, all of you people are young, not like I'm old, but there's a thing called a language master. It's a plastic box made by people like Bell and Howard, Caliphone, and it uses what looks like IBM tape, IBM cards, with a teeny bit of tape on the middle. It used to be used to teach people how to read, etc., but there'd be like a instructor side and children's side. However, I'm going to use it to play 20 questions. So it's 20 questions for 5 masters, so there'll be all these language masters and all 5 poets who get to choose whether or not they're going to run the card or do something original. And I will be, of course, the card master, not the language master, because everybody else is the language master. I'll be the card master. The point of this, what I feel like, it sounds ridiculous, I know, but the point of this is the cards are shuffleable. So my idea is to like create a generative word where we can shuffle the cards, and every time it's different. The only thing is the questions that are the same. Which I could get into my whole, but I'm not going to, because Ed, who is one of my co-collaborators, like, you know, when they're going to send me in jail for being part of the avant-garde, he's coming with me, which I'm really sad about, and so is David, so is Angela. But Ev is also going to read, and Ev, let me tell you about Ev. Let me tell you what little I can tell you about Ev, because I think Ev is remarkable, and the reason I think he's remarkable is because I didn't know him from anyone, anywhere. And anyway, so I want you to know my poetry reading. And Ev used the term linear A, which is a very ancient language structure that like nobody, and I'm just like, whoa, he knows about linear A. And so we made him join the collective, but we also are going to make him read, which I think is like a much better reason to come than listening to me. Please. So I'm actually going to turn the mic over to Hooke, and she's going to introduce the next two, and I will be back to say goodbye. So.
Laura, I was going to bring up your, I didn't know I was introducing you until just now. Do you want me to read your bio, or should I just talk about you? I'll just talk about you.
Am I wrong?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Look, Maryrose, everybody clap for Maryrose. Maryrose basically sings as an MC on the spot, and that's amazing. And Maryrose supports all poets everywhere. It's pretty incredible. She's the reason why we're here in a lot of ways. And also David is up there. Okay, Aura
As I
Valdes.
say, before you say that, as I say, every man, woman, and child who is writing poetry is a member of my family. However, there's some members of my family that I never want to see.
I'm so glad you want to see me. All right, I met Aura, I think was the first Inquiries event, yeah? So the LGBTQ plus Institute does a event called the Inquiries, and I was able to read poetry at that, and that is when I met Aura. Aura is a remarkable human. I love them so much, and I'm so grateful to have them in my life. And when I was, you know, a newbie in this collective, and we were talking about people we wanted to have read, Aura was at the top of my list, and so I'm so grateful that they're here. Aura does so much work in the queer community, and then did this amazing photography show called in the in-between spaces. That's not exactly what it was called, but that's basically what it was about. Sorry. Anyway, I love them. I know you will love them. Everyone, Aura Valdes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I know. I have so much stuff. This is like my life. I was carrying around so much stuff. I think that's also maybe like a super gay trait, is to have like a fanny pack and you just kind of pull out your stuff. I'm actually surprised I don't have one right now.
It's a safe space.
I know, right? It's a safe space to not have a fanny pack. Well, first of all, I do have to say thank you. This space is amazing. It's really, really beautiful. I can't stop looking at the paintings over there. Awkward. I can't stop looking at the paintings because I grew up on the East Coast. And I feel like every time I look at the paintings, it's like many of the houses that I grew up in. I spent a lot of time in Maine, New England. It felt tumultuous, but I walked in here and I felt like, I don't know, that's just like part of who I am. So I was like, welcome, tumultuous. So this is going to be a journey. Welcome, congratulations. This first poem, I'm just gonna dive into it. The journey is gonna take a while. Not like years, but it's just gonna be a little bit of inner journey. This one is called Skyscraper. Skyscraper. I am keeper of a skyscraper, not built by my height, that meeting with a man, built by a lazy camera. He turns black and white, lifts up white shirt. I am keeper of a skyscraper, only metal. We are black bars, silver, steel, afraid of putting holes in each other. I am a scared fantasy. I am pushing into lies, into pushing into steel, skyscraper, all brown. I am a square, stuck in bed, pressing buttons to meet a very tall, unfinished skyscraper, something of black and white broad. There is a muscle I have not touched yet. I wonder if I am open, scissors like rusted. Would they reach the top of a muscle on the neck, a person 200, 100, to meet my 65? Would they meet my 100 climbing? We climb, we fumble, put metal into skin, into that one hole that we promised we would only kiss each other. We would not be filled until we have kissed each other. I am too much. May I be too much, a skyscraper. Thank you. I think I'm gonna do a warning. This is just gonna be super gay. I know, I'm so glad. I joke a lot, but also sometimes I feel like my journey as a queer person, as a trans person, a gay person, it wasn't linear. Like, I always felt like there was something wrong with me because it wasn't linear. I didn't fit into a box. Like, I did this show called the In-Between Spaces because I felt like that was me. You know, I was caught in the in-between spaces. I was a very what's the word? Everyone's like, they were a very odd child. But I was adopted, I was brown, I was in a white family, and I used to joke saying that I knew how to be a doll. My mom put me as a doll into a tiny little case, and I knew how to do that. And I knew what would get me attention. And I think sometimes people say like, oh, that person wants attention. I'm like, yes, I did. I wanted attention because I needed to know where I fit. And I think that was always my life's, almost my work, to try to figure out what got me the attention that I wanted, but a lot of times I didn't know exactly how to do it. And so finally, by the time I came out as trans, it was like this line of being like, okay, queer, woman, okay, dude, like guy, whatever it was. And then finally I was like, oh, this is the attention that is safe. This is the attention that I want. But for a long time, I had all this attention I didn't want. But people were like, oh, I'll give you a pat. This is good. This is your currency. And that's the way I talk about it, is that for me, that sometimes being a girl, it gave me a safety and a currency. And for a lot of years, I'm like, that was okay. And this is a long rambling story, but for me, for a long time, it was okay, until it wasn't. So this one, I had a lot of dreams about the forest. The forest and the sea. It's a strange puzzle to know that the forest and the sea, they live so close to each other. It's only minutes and not even miles yet. I still don't like the two of them sitting at the same table. They are friends in nature, but in my dreams, they always fight it out and they crash. Sometimes I'm the loser because I wake up sweating and smelling of salt, even though I've tossed and I've turned into the forest. This next one is called Honey. Honey, to dress of sweet love, the kind you save for others, is still sway, honey. The O of his lips, the fingers counting, pulls tether to your brain, reflecting of your cells exploding, not shrinking in comparison. For others you sway. The kind you save, the O of his lips, the fingers counting, reflecting of your cells exploding, not shrinking in comparison. For others you sway. To dress sweet love, not shrink in comparison, no tether to your brain, be still, honey. Journeys and dreaming. When you come into the world, there is something of a knowing. I don't think I ever did. People stand, they fix their tie, they go into the world a certain number of hours, a period of days. They come home and they jingle their keys. They might have a worker's stance, a tallness, a roundness, a purse on their shoulder, a tucking brown hair behind one ear. Maybe someone's waiting, a husband who speaks too loud, or maybe drinks too much. That's not me. I haven't children or plotted land. Outside the gate, this new world has turned into something brand specific. I have paw prints, rubber boots, telephone pole line in the sky, waiting for the sun to go down. I'm an excuse to get into bed without calling myself lazy. It's patience, it's resilience. I am an elegant day. I claim it like a t-shirt without spending any money. This next one. Sometimes I feel like I also chart part of my journey by the ways that I've fallen in love. And I feel like sometimes people talk about love as something of like failures, or whether you hold on to someone for a long period of time. And for me, I feel like I fall in love many different times. And I don't see them as failures. I mean, sometimes it's like heartbreak, sometimes it's like grinder mishaps, sometimes it's like all these different things. But as I get older, I definitely think of them as poems and as things and opportunities that I've definitely fallen in love a lot. Love's Great Divide. When I think of love, I dream of the Great Divide, that highway between you and I, brazen black tar paved down the bed sheets. Our sweat and our skin never touched each other. Hands busy in the puzzle of passion's great release. It's a tease and a touch, our little death over and over again. You with the pictures, me with the words, dizzying eyes and arms, all searching for the truth within these walls. It is the silence creating a soft skin like a scar around our changing bodies. taking track time, so if someone
No,
do that journey
please
for
keep
me.
going.
I feel like I also can't get through gayness without talking about my mom. So yeah, this one is the Wayback Machine. It's about my mom. Bees. I learned cleaning from my mother. Plastic slip covers on yellow pollen furniture. My brown skin, the bees. Ziploc bag style without the blue line in the middle. Nothing to catch my thighs, only her voice a criticism. Sticky in summer, washed red nose to a basket door. Black shakes above anyone. Which are you, my friend? Are you heading towards or away? Which are you, my friend? Are you heading towards or away? I sit on the couch like corduroy, raised my eyebrows, a question. Which are you, my friend, heading towards or away? In my heart, I knew the answer, like heavy plastic, we were cradled. Our heads heavy with the weight of curls against stubble. I refused to shave until 2 days had passed. I was sitting, I was turning Saturday into Monday. Thank you. I think sometimes I've also looked at the body, my body, as part of not exactly a roadmap, but a way that I can sort of chart who I am as a queer person, a trans person, a disabled person, a brown person, all the identities, because a lot of times I can't figure out what I'm thinking, but I look to my body to be like, oh, what's going on? Who am I in the world? And a lot of times I look down and I'm like, how am I feeling? And it sort of tells me first. This one is called I Map the Body. I map the body, eat the air when you breathe, smoke before and after. I learn the fingers bow up and shipwrecked. I map the body, we eat the air, breathe, smoke before and after. I learn with fingers bow up and shipwrecked. One good ear to day-old sex. I learned in my own time. We curl and lap up hips as spinning globes. I am still in the ways of just being, unwilling, unnecessary to move. We outrun bad dreams, a stone falling, sent without words. I learn I am the sexiest thing I know. Oh, I also really love pigeons. But I really do. I'm one of those odd people that watches pigeons a lot. Pigeons. Pigeons mourn. They do it in pairs. I want to call myself the pretty one with distinct feathers, not round, gray on one side like a paneled car. I'm unique, feathered, running in circles clockwise, dashing on gray concrete chunks next to a barrel cactus. Tipped sideways just enough to say I'm sharp. I'm bending towards the sun, even when it's melting, but I'm still here. Pigeons mourn and keep little birds, birds unknown to the O of my mouth. Protective, a casket, just of fallen seeds. Seems fitting that you died in front of the only half-shell altar in the yard. I love that one, indistinguishable bird in the yard. It protects you. At least that's what I tell myself, to make the story more glorious than gruesome. I call and claim a premium pigeon on a triangle rock with that single breeze blowing through the front feathers. Turning to face the fence, only eating the crumbs that nobody else has gotten to yet. I'm happy the 2, now 3, have joined the lunchtime funeral. Only I call it that. It's not human to say death. This is a dance and a quarter to the tree. This is for blooms. 6 birds, 2 red feet. I lose track of the millet seeds, and several kinds of beaks are pecking in the gravel. Small fights break out, chests are puffed, and the wind gives a reminder that water soon will fall and the heat will rise. I'm trying to find one to sort of like wrap these little ones up. I don't know, okay. we'll kind of have the beginning and then a fast forward. So, like I mentioned, I am adopted. So I feel like it was kind of like a wild ride, at least from what I'm told. I was adopted from South America, and the year was 1976. So obviously I don't remember it, but I believe that my body remembers. I think, I believe all our cells remember things. And over the years, I feel like cells kind of pop every once in a while and tell me things in dreams or poems. And given everything that's going on right now, there's a part of me that keeps thinking politically, oh my goodness, like there's everything going on, and every once in a while my body will have a dream of South America or a dream of different things that have happened, and I start kind of falling into fear, being like, what's going to happen? Is something going to happen, like toss me, back into something scary? But then sometimes I think of where I came from. And my mom always told me the story, my adopted mom, of like me being flown, coming over with them, and me being in this bassinet. And I guess in like the 70s, they were like, you put a baby in a bassinet and it was like attached to the wall on a plane. And my mom was like, you were so fussy that you just like busted off the wall. And everyone was like, you were such a problem. And now I'm like, yeah, I was a problem. So that is my hope now, to still continue to be a problem. So this is called the Wishing Well. I was born from a place of bittersweet magic. My mother knew the depth of my wishing well, like the sea knows its first storm. She carried the weight of these stones inside of her chest. When we said goodbye, she parted the waters greater than Moses. She left her body beneath the bedrock. I stopped making wishes when she gave me away. The crying so ancient, I called her name for 10 days and 10 nights. My mouth so empty, my hands fussing and fighting like two fish fighting the hook and the line. Eager for the bait, but betrayed by the rough taste of barbed wire. I am going to end it on that. But before I do, I just want to take 1 minute, and as I was sitting back there, I was just reflecting on the idea of presence, and I just wanted to also just encourage people to think that we all came here for a reason, like here tonight, and I feel like there's a reason why we all like left our house and came here to connect with each other. And I just wanted to encourage people, if they felt like it, to either connect with themselves tonight or just take some time to connect with one person here, just so potentially they just don't leave here feeling like they didn't connect with someone. Because someone once said to me to treat everybody you meet as if they're grieving. So that was on my mind today.
Okay, our last performer is J. Patrick Oldby. Patrick is a creative genius. A lot of people here are here for him, and it's love of my life that took a long time to find. They write fiction and screenplays and sketch comedy and nonfiction, and have published 4 books on the paranormal. Writes screenplays and performs as an actor in those movies, as a stand-up comic, as a member of the local improv theater, the Tucson Improv Movement, which we have a lot of lovely people here. I'm also part of that. He does 2 podcasts, has been podcasting since podcasting was probably invented. We do, with our friend Keenan here, a movie review podcast, and then he does a wonderful supernatural discussion podcast with our friend Katie back there, the Ghost Schools of Mysteries. Katie's also his writing partner of the paranormal books. He sings, he does all these things. He's also this decades practicing martial artist and has been working 14 years in behavioral health. Like, this person is incredible. I'm gonna read another poem. Did you know that was gonna happen? Because this is a poem I wrote for them, and it's a way to introduce what's happening. The poem is called One Day You Showed Me Who You Are and I Am Blessed. You have lived more moments of maleness than any than ever any other thing, because they said you should. And we listen to those older ones who think they know who we should become, because we believe they know, until we grow enough to be able to ask, do they? Do they know? Do they love us enough to not know who we are, who we will become? Can't they just let us be? Can they? No. No, the truth is, no one can, because no one knows. Most of us don't even know until we do. As some liquid radiance leaks out from the not knowing shadows, gold dripping, and their blast furnace fear dehydrates, cauterizing the cracked shell so no other true thing can escape, can be born before anyone can see, before we can see. Until the next time. The brilliant beat breaking through, a shimmer piercing the mirage, truer than this outside verse from within personal multiverse. How much of this allowable multitudinous maleness is you? Dendrites embedded in your brain, created because of what they made you do, be. Your he rails against their preconceived encasement until she finally breaks free. Eggshells shattering, second birth, the razor edge migraine growth, the split skin savagery, newborn beauty emerging in leather-clad glory, velvet feminine softening, fresh lace superimposed upon established fierceness, spirit breasts and scruffiness, open heart and clenched fists, more and more corporeal as in stepping up and out, all that is you becomes realized. It is my greatest honor to present J. Patrick Oldie performing Clarity.
So I'm going to do laundry for you guys real quick. My name is Patrick, and I want to talk about being gender fluid and what that means to me and how I got there. I'm not a poet, so I kind of don't know what I'm doing here to a degree, but I just wanted to talk about it because it's helped me to read other people's accounts and talk to other people who are also gender fluid, so I thought maybe I would just add my voice to that a little bit. A little bit of a trigger warning for what I'm doing. There's going to be some, sexual assault and grooming and some violence in this story, which is too bad, but here we are. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. Angela covered most of the good stuff I was going to say about me, so I'll just jump right to the bad stuff about me. Since I was a kid, I've basically hated myself. And I've hated the way that I looked. Either I was too skinny, or I was too big, or too small. And I have almost no self-confidence of any kind. Very shy. I get massive anxiety in, social settings. But one thing that I do have going for me a little bit is spite. And so when I was, in grade school and somebody told me that I had no artistic talent whatsoever, I said, fuck you, I'm gonna be a professional artist. And so I've been paid for art. I learned how to draw comic books. When there was a rumor about me when I was in 7th grade that I was gay and had fucked a dude in my gym class. I was ostracized from school, and I had one friend, and my parents were not really on my side about it, because one time when I was, 10, they caught me trying on my mom's clothes. So they imagined it must be everything that they were hearing was true. And so I went through this whole year of just constant, getting my ass kicked and being called every homophobic slur you can imagine, and just generally having bad time with things. And my mom asked me a long time after that how I got through that, like how I didn't kill them or myself. And I said, because I knew in 10 years it wouldn't matter anymore. And that wasn't entirely true. I did say that to myself. I was wrong. It did super matter 10 years later. But as evidenced by 3 black belts and 6 years of Muay Thai. But what the real reason was is I did not want to give them any satisfaction to have killed myself or to do something violent towards them. And I just wanted to go through it. But I lived because of spite. Recently, a couple years ago, I almost died from not knowing I was diabetic and having really high blood pressure. And so I had kind of a transformation, my habits and exercise and things like that. People have asked me like, well, how did you do that? And I tell them just exercise and eating better, but really it's spite. It's just fuck off. I'm not going out like that. So I've had 2 near fatal incidents in my life, and both times I've just been like, no, it's gonna be harder than that. Not that much harder, honestly, but that's not a challenge, just in case you were wondering. So anyway, the way that I got here, though, is a little bit strange. I was watching a documentary last summer on HBO, or Max, or whatever the fuck you call it. And it was called Quiet on the Set, and it was about kind of abuse on the set of Nickelodeon shows. And I was watching it primarily because the kind of focus of it was played Ricky Smith in Better Off Dead, which is my favorite movie. And I was like, shit, how bad is this going to be? And I was kind of gobsmacked during that's not really the thing that got me that much. It was, at a certain point, Drake Bell came out and started talking about having been groomed and sexually assaulted by one of the acting coaches that was on all of the shows. And his story's horrific, and it was just punishing to listen to on his face. But it really fucked me up because I was mildly sexually assaulted by someone I trusted when I was in college. I had just turned 18. As a family friend, after a fashion, who I had met at the video store that I used to work at, or used to not work at, but go to all the time. My parents didn't want me to go anywhere because my mom was afraid I was going to get captured by a serial killer and killed. So instead, I hung out at the local video store and watched rented movies and games and all that kind of stuff. Became friends with the people who worked there. Most notably, Katie Mullally, who I have written 4 books with, and she's rad. We had a website that we did together for like 5 years, and then we started writing books together, and we do paranormal investigation, so pretty cool. There was a kind of a third member of that group at the beginning, though, and this guy befriended me when I was in 8th grade, and for as much as my mom was worried that I was gay, she wasn't really paying a lot of other attention to what else might be going on, like why was I sleeping over at this guy's house. But when I watched this Drake Bell thing, I realized that I had focused a lot on the sexual assault part of it. What hadn't occurred to me is the grooming part of it, and how horrifying that is, because I was left with, like, who the fuck actually am I? Did I have my own preferences? Do I like Oingo Boingo because I do, or because that guy did? You know, am I into Monty Python because I like Monty Python, or because that dude was into Monty Python? Fuck, do I make movies because I like making movies, or because he was really into making movies? Not those kind of movies, though, don't worry about it. So I was like, what might I have been? You know? Like, I just didn't know anymore. So I opened myself up to sort of emotional exploration after that. And so, just a little bit of personal information about myself, and really the leather. You might have gotten that from Ash's poem. And so I've always thought that was really awesome. I'm also pescatarian though, so now it's like faux leather now. But there's a thing that happened shortly after this where I was at Disneyland, and my friend works at Disneyland, and she gets into this, like, it's almost like a factory to you of Disneyland. And so everything's like super cheap. And I happened to be walking past this one, Angela was there with me, and I was walking past this one rack, and I found there were like these leather shorts there. And I was like, oh, those are really cool. And normally, I would say, Angela, you want to get some leather shorts? And then, but my first thought this time was not that. It was like, hey, I could get those, and I could wear those. And I was like, whoa, wait. I thought that was done. I thought that I had killed that out of myself a long time ago because I grew up in a super religious family who just wears, that was not a good thing. That was not a thing to do. And then, like, that night, while going to the bathroom, at my friend's house, I ordered a bunch of stuff off of Amazon because I can, and I was like, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know what this is. Who knows? And so over the course of the rest of the summer, I started to experiment with wearing different things and not really knowing what it was for. But my friend Sasha had told me about kind of some transitioning things that were going on with her. And we met for breakfast this one time after a while of not really going out to breakfast. Ostensibly to talk about things from a job that I used to be at, but that she is still at. But I asked her, hey, how did you know? Like, what was the thing that let you know what was going on with you? And so we started having this conversation. Awkwardly, I also ran into a friend of mine that I've known since first grade with his family that I haven't seen in like 10 years at that thing. So that was a weird thing to have happen right then. Neither here nor there, but that just was a weird thing. But when I was talking to Sasha, and she was telling me about how she kind of came to where she was, I felt like that moment in Fight Club where the narrator realizes that he's also Tyler Durden, that says we've just lost cabin pressure. Sorry about the spoiler, by the way, for a 26-year-old movie, but I was like, fuck, this is totally what's up. And she gave me some links to look at and started like reading. I read this one particular story that was told in comic form that I was just like sobbing at the end. And I was like, holy shit, there's just so many connection points to this. And so I was like, I think this is what's up. And I had been really terrified to tell anybody at all about it because it's scary. But then at the time I had hope. I was thinking, well, Kamala will win and then I'll be able to come out. It's fine. Anyway, so I told Angela that night after I went to a trip to Nightfall with one of the improv groups that I'm in, the Spooky Girls. And I told her on the drive back, because I knew we had like 30 minutes, and so I'd be able to get through it all. And, but I was like, you know what, nothing's really gonna change. I don't think I'm changing any pronouns or anything like that. I'm just gonna continue being who I am. I'm probably not gonna tell anybody else either, because I just want to keep this to myself. But I was thinking, Kamala, that'll be cool. And then, the election happened, and I woke up the next morning, because I went to bed with hope in my heart, like, just lying to myself. And then I woke up the next morning, and I was like, fuck. My first thought was, you have to just hide this away. You have to put it back. Wherever it's been for all this time, you can just walk away. You can just continue looking like a cis white dude, and everything will be fine. But fuck all that. And so I'm a relationship anarchist, as has been mentioned. One of my other partners, Sharon, who's right there, she was with me that night. And so I told her the next morning, I was like, you know what? If you're gonna love me, you're gonna know who I am. And so here it is. And then in conversation with the Spooky Girls about how much it sucked, I was like, yeah, this is a hell of a time to realize that I am gender fluid. And I was like, oh shit, I just told a whole bunch of people there, They were all very lovely, and it made me happy. And so I realized, I'm not going to hide this anymore, and I'm just not going to do that. I just have to talk about it. And I'm not 100% out. I mean, despite the fact that I am here in public talking about it, there's areas in my life where I'm still sort of not out. But it's just really important in this time where just existing is protest that I'm just not going to be quiet anymore. And I'm not going to just let it go. I'm not going to put myself back in that bullshit box that I was in before. And I'm going to be who I am. And so, I don't know, I've just been talking a really long time. Been talking for 49 fucking years. And there's still plenty of the show left, but I'm going to stop talking. So excuse me for just 1 second. I haven't been doing that just for, just to be an edge word or anything like that. I just didn't want you to see my eyes. But my name's Claire, you guys. And I'm just really happy to be able to meet all of you. But, you know, the secret is that you've all met me. If you know me, you've all met me before plenty of times. You might be asking some questions like, are you transitioning? Is this your new identity? No. But it's not another personality either. It's an aspect, maybe an expression. But if you're wondering who I am, I'm the spite. I'm the one that has been like, no, fuck you, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna be an artist, we're gonna be an actor, we're gonna be a singer. All this stuff that you have imposter syndrome about, fuck all that noise, we're gonna do this. I'm the one that's kept us alive for this whole time. I'm the one that doesn't feel bad about myself. I'm the one that feels comfortable. Anytime that I'm on stage, you've seen me. And it's just really good to not have to be hiding that part anymore, you know? And it's not so much that I'm gonna be out like this a lot, or going out and like, certainly not to work, certainly not to the gym. Although my gym is, by the way, inclusive and open to anybody. Self-defense, great idea nowadays. And also, let me tell you, punching somebody in the face feels pretty good. Hobby, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. So what I wanted to do though is just kind of introduce you guys to me, tell you what I'm about, what's going on here, what's going on with Claire. Angela and Sharon a little bit have been the only two people who have met me. But I just want you guys to know. Here's the part where it sucks to not have written this down and just do this off the cuff, because I don't really remember all of what I wanted to say in this phase. There's three phases to this. This is the second phase here, what I'm doing. Next phase is going to be a little awkward for Kanan, because he's going to be right down the barrel of me taking off other things that I've got on right now. But, yeah, I'm just going to go to the next phase now. But thank you guys so much for coming to this and for meeting me. So it should be pretty obvious, though, that I did all this. I thought of all this stuff when it was July or January, rather, because Jesus Christ, it's hot. I'm looking forward to this phase most of the time. So I don't have a different name for this. I want to talk about my name, and I want to talk about pronouns a little bit, and what this means for me going forward, and how this all works for me a little bit. I'm really new to it, obviously. I don't know how everybody else feels about it. I'm always really scared of offending other people who are gender fluid, because maybe it's a different flavor than what I'm doing. But for me, I'm still Patrick, I'm still Claire, I'm still both of those things most of the time. You know, it kind of moves back and forth. Some days I feel super masculine. That's mostly when I'm really depressed and fucking things up. And sometimes I feel really feminine, and that's oftentimes when I'm feeling better, more relaxed. So that's interesting. But most of the time I'm in the middle. I'm just kind of both of those things. And so I've kind of done some stuff here to make, you know, kind of appear both ways, right? Just also, I was standing back in the back after I changed. Sorry about everybody trying to get to that bathroom. And it was really, really hot. But I was sitting there thinking about how comfortable these leggings are. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried these leggings, but they're fucking awesome. And so even as hot as they are, I just really enjoy it. I really like that I can feel comfortable doing that. But as far as my pronouns are concerned, you know, when I first started coming out to people, I said, they're not going to change. It's going to be he, him. And then at a birthday party, I was talking to my friend Ben, and he asked me what my pronouns were, and I said, you know, he, they. I didn't really think about it. I just said it, and I was like, oh, well, that's new. Well, that's interesting. didn't see that coming. And so that's kind of where I'm at now, but she's cool too. They's probably the most accurate at any given time, but I'm cool with all of it. I don't really care, because I kind of just move back and forth between them, and that's okay. And maybe there'll be a day when I kind of shift from one to the other more often, or stay in the middle and get a more definitive answer than all that. Maybe one of you guys one time will ask me, hey, how are your pronouns? And I'll say something out of left fucking field that I didn't expect. Because that's what happened with Ben. And I was like, huh. I told Angela on the way home after that, she's like, really? I was like, yeah, that's weird.
I did not say that.
No, I said that's weird. I said it's weird. I was like, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. Sometimes I say some shit and I didn't expect it. And I guess maybe that's clear when that happens. I don't know. We'll blame her for it for a while. She'll get mad at me later. So yeah, so this is kind of where I'm at. I did a lot of Transformers gear tonight. Partially it was because that hoodie thing was really big, and I was hoping it would hide the boobs a little bit better until I took it off. But also because I was reading a Transformers fan group that I'm a part of, and somebody put up this picture of Optimus Prime, so the big semi-truck robot. And he was holding a pride flag, and there's like a saying from Transformers saying that freedom is the right of all sentient beings. And there were a bunch of people in the comments who were like, nah, Optimus Prime wouldn't be down with gay people. They wouldn't be down with queer people. They wouldn't be down with trans people. And it's like, motherfucker, it's not cisformers, all right? It's transformers. It's literally a dude that transforms into something else and then back again. Like, what are we talking about here, right? It's just right there in the, anyway. So I feel like reclaiming Transformers is important, because there's a lot of dickheads that just don't really understand how things work. It's the same sort of people who think that they're the Rebel Alliance in Star Wars, right? Like, I saw somebody say something about how seeing Mark Hamill go and meet Joe Biden was like watching Luke side with the Emperor. And I'm like, what the fuck movie were you watching? What are you talking about? Are you? Anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I'm forgetting a bunch of shit that I thought about that was really important for me to say tonight. But I guess the biggest part was that, I don't give a fuck anymore. And I'm going to be who I am. And if that offends anyone, they can fuck themselves. Yeah. So thank you guys for coming. And I'm sure when I'm driving home, I'll be thinking of all the things that I meant to say, and I'm like, oh man, I can call everybody else and say, oh, here's some extra stuff. But yeah, for the most part, it's just, man, thank you guys so much. I appreciate everybody who's in here. All the people that I invited that know me personally, I did so because they're people I love and that I've shared myself with already. And I'm just so thankful for all the support that I've had. It's been sort of magical in that way. So thank you guys so much.
I could just talk over the mic, people, but Ashley's gonna help me.
I know, I'm so sorry. Fucking A. I don't know how you guys feel, but it made me so happy. The whole thing just... I want to hug everyone in the room. I especially want to hug Patrick and Claire. I'm so grateful that I'm able to be a tiny part of making this happen. But I am just the vessel, or the funnel. I'm the cold collaborator. Anyways, okay, my email is maryrose@gmail.com. If any of you ever need anything from me, you should just email me. And I'm actually, okay, I love you all.
I know it sounds like that would be something that some MC who knew what they were doing would say, but I actually love you all. I want to thank you all for coming. I want to tell you, unlike Claire said, I want to tell you that we do all sorts of nonsense here. We've had visual artists come and share their paintings and then talk about their process. We've had a beautiful death ritual thing. We've had bands. If you can think about it, and like if you want to share it, you should do it here because, you know, we all kind of love each other and we all believe that failure is not negative. So, you can get in touch with me, maryrose@gmail.com. I'm just an early adopter because I'm old. maryrose@gmail.com, or text us at Moveable Beast. And if you are thinking you might want to be a featured reader in the future, or a featured painter, or a featured whatever the hell people do these days, featured performance artist, puppetry. We have no puppetry yet, and I would really be behind the puppetry. Or like if you love something, like I did something called Neo Benchi, and it was about the 1922 Theatre Rising production of Joan of Arc, which had Arco in it. Anyways, I did, but you know, do what you want, we want to see it. Tell us what tell us what you want to tell us. I want to see it. I want to see it. Next is April 23rd, then we're taking a break. Thank you all for coming.